Hey, it's Jane with the Compassion Project, and I'm excited this morning to play a game of Cool to Connect with Melissa Costello.
Yay!
Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back because we did an interview a few weeks ago, which was really fun.
We did. Melissa and I did one of the interviews for the Compassion Project. It was amazing. So this woman, honestly, is incredible. She's a transformational life coach and counselor of spiritual psychology, holistic nutritionist, speaker, author, and she's from Santa Barbara, California.
Yes.
She has an incredible group called Reclaim Your Wild. I recommend anyone to join it. It's awesome. Her mission is to empower women to show up for themselves, guilt-free, and reconnect to their deepest truths so they can live their most fulfilled, authentic, inspired life.
Yay.
So,
thank you. I'm so excited for this.
What was that?
I'm so excited for this.
So I love to play this game. It's called Cool to Connect. I'll show people these are the cards. They're connection cards. And they were created by a lady her name is Dana Clark. She's from Toronto, Ontario. She has a company called Heroic Humans. So she created the connection cards. There's 52 cards. I've already played the game and I've answered all of these. So awesome. Today, to be fair, I've never read these ones. I have my ones left that I've never looked at.
Yay.
So that we both are
surprised. Uh-oh.
And actually, I really surprised myself by not peeking. My husband's shocked that I haven't actually read them. I'm like, no.
That's pretty impressive.
Okay, so what I do is just kind of shuffle them up. And then I'll shuffle them up and then we'll do 3 questions. I'll read the question.
Okay.
And then we decide who wants to answer it first.
Okay.
We'll both answer it.
Great.
Are you ready?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Here's the first question. Oh, I like this question. Okay. What is the best gift you have ever been given?
Wow. Okay. I'll go, I guess. Because all of a sudden I was like, wow, that's a hard one. And then, so the best gift I ever was given was for my 50th birthday 2 years ago. 5 of my girlfriends came on a trip with me that is like my sacred life-changing trip. And it's in the Bahamas swimming with wild dolphins. And I've been there multiple times myself, and I've never shared it with my friends. And so they all, for my 50th birthday, of course, paid money to go on this trip. And that was like the most I was so full. My heart was so full. It was amazing to have my closest girlfriends celebrate such a sacred time with me in a sacred place. And since then, a couple of them have already gone back without me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So okay, I just felt so loved. That was amazing.
And the thing is about a gift like that is you remember it forever. Like, because the way you felt, because we always remember our clearest memories are when we have that strong feeling attached to it. So that's awesome.
It strengthened our bonds. Like now we have this thing that I would tell people about it, but they just couldn't get it. Like I've been there so many times. I used to work there and they just didn't get it. So now that they've been on the trip, they understand the experience. And it's like, now we have that special bond. So we can always talk about it and understand what the other person feels.
Wow. And I know you have a really strong connection with animals because this girl loves horses. Because you're learning to be, what is it? It's work with equestrian.
It's called EFL, Equine Facilitated Learning Therapist. So I'm getting a training in that so that I can bring the therapy work with horses into my coaching business.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
how about you?
Actually, it's interesting because so the best gift I have ever been given is from my husband. It's not my wedding ring. Nope. He gave me how many years ago now? 3 years ago, because he's a pilot with Air Canada. Okay. So traveling to, all over Shanghai, he always come back with stuff from the market. Yeah. And he got me a pair. It's not romantic at all, but he got me a pair that has the earphones that you put in, the what do you call it, wireless ones.
Yeah.
Really good set.
Awesome.
And it sounds like, how could that be the best gift? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because it completely changed my life. Because in the morning, I always get up and I shower and dry my hair, do my makeup. So you've got like half an hour when you're getting ready, 45 minutes. And I have a mind that really wanders. Lots of times, that's when I would think about my problems. Okay. You think this happened yesterday. And I started doing personal growth, really into it about 3 years ago. So I started putting that headset in the morning. And I would turn on YouTube and I would listen to Tony Robbins, and I'd listen to from Zig Ziglar to Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu. I got so hooked on when I was getting ready. So it's like, it's not adding more time to my day. It changed my life. So the funny thing is my husband, my husband would, he's in bed while I'm getting ready. And sometimes I'm listening to something so amazing and I write all these notes. I have stacks of books, and it changed my life because I used to think like I couldn't fit it in. And that headset changed me. It gave me that opportunity to be able to do personal growth and I fit it into my busy day.
Right.
So my bathroom became like my, it became like what I learned. I seriously would come out with this. I come out in the morning, my poor husband, today I listened to, and I'd sit and tell him about it. He's like, yeah, okay, what else did you want?
That's awesome.
But I feel like it was the best gift because I don't think he realized when he gave me that headset, it would help me with personal growth.
How much it would change. Yeah, that's so cool because I think there is, this stuff takes time when we're learning new things about ourselves, when we're trying to change habits and all that stuff. And we do, when we work for ourselves or we have jobs or we have kids, we do have busy lives. And it's nice to have a way to kind of multitask. But if you're in the bathroom getting ready, listening, I know a lot of people who commute, they listen in the car to podcasts and stuff, right? So some of us don't have to commute. We don't leave our homes to work and we work from home or whatever. So it's nice to have a time of the day where you can just be learning and taking in. That's cool.
And it's like the habit stacking. Like when people say, I'm too busy to do personal growth. I don't have time to read the books, or so you take a habit and you stack another habit on it. So when I'm drying my hair, I have very thick hair, it takes a while. And it's become like this amazing time in the morning. My poor husband, hello, can you come out of the bathroom?
And I imagine you look forward to it, right? Like the trigger is drying my hair. Oh, personal growth, right? It's that is the habit stacking. That's how we create the new habits, right? We stack them on top of something that's already existing and make it easy for ourselves.
Yeah. When I was younger, 10 years ago, I would have been like, this necklace my husband gave me. Which would be nice, but this was so much more. It became so much more.
It made an impact. Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, that's so cool.
All right, second question. Ready?
Yes.
That was a good one. In your last or current relationship, who said I love you first?
Oh.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, why don't you go? Can you remember? Can you remember?
In your last or current relationship. So with my husband and I, who said I love you first? I love you it's interesting to say it first because you have to get into a vulnerable, it's like being brave and, Brene Brown and the courage. So that it takes that first time to say I love you is hard because you want that reaction back. And okay, we've been married 34 years dating.
That's why. Can you remember which one of you?
Yeah.
Takes you back to when you guys first were together, right? Those are such sweet memories a lot of times.
Yeah. He said it first. Yeah, he said it first.
Oh.
But I was saying it in my head so many times
before that.
And I think it was only after 3 weeks, but I remember just always saying it in my head, but having that fear to say it out loud in case he didn't love me, in case he didn't feel the same way. And then when he said it, it was just I love you too, like that. Okay. But so it's interesting because it is being vulnerable.
Totally.
Hard for people. I love you is hard for people. And my husband grew up in a family that didn't say it. I mean, they showed it, but the words, he didn't say it.
Yeah.
And some people have trouble with that, right?
Yeah. And I think that, you know, since we're raised in kind of a fairy tale society, that it's often we have the expectation, like we get so scared to say it because then we feel if the other person doesn't say it back, we get rejected, or we feel rejected, or we believe it's a rejection when maybe it's not. And maybe they just need more time, or they feel that way, but they want more clarity. Right. So I think we all have different timing with it, and it is really vulnerable, but it's also such a beautiful feeling when someone says it and you're like, for the first time, right? It's like, oh, wow, that's so, it's such a beautiful connection.
Well, and I think the important thing is to realize, probably comes with age, but it doesn't matter if they say it back.
I know.
That's I think coming like with maturity and life experience, is that when you're young and more vulnerable, you feel like if they don't say it back, then it makes you less than or something. But if you can be confident enough to be like, I love this person. And if he doesn't say it back or she doesn't say it back, it's okay.
Yeah, totally.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that does come with wisdom, because I know when I was younger, I did not feel that way. Right? Like, oh my God, if they don't say it back, it means I'm, you know, like maybe there's something wrong with me or they're rejecting me. But that's taken a lot of years for me to work through that and really understand, like, that's not what it's about, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you remember your?
Yeah, I believe he said it first. Well, I also very, very clearly remember him like saying, I'm falling in love with you. And then I do remember, I believe he is the one who said it first. It's so funny because that relationship ended like almost 5 years ago. And so it's been a while for me that I've been in a relationship, but we were together for a few years, and I do remember, I believe it was him, which is cool, right? It's nice to just, and I felt the same way too. Like I think we both, like, we were really both on the same page, you know? And so it felt very mutual, and it felt like we were moving along at the same pace, which was really cool. Because we took our time really getting to know one another. We were long distance. And so over the course of, like, you know, the first 3 to 6 months, we really took time getting to know one another, and we didn't see each other all the time, which I think was healthy because it gave us an opportunity to, like, talk on the phone and, like, do things, you know, that you wouldn't normally do just in the day to day if you lived close to one another. So that was kind of really cool. And even spending time apart, not seeing each other all the time, it, like, built up that, oh, I miss this person. Right. So that was kind of cool to have that experience. Yeah.
Interesting you say that, because my husband and I have been married a long time, and he's a pilot traveling the world. So our whole marriage has been, he goes away for 3 or 4 days. He comes back. We miss each other. I feel like we have this really kind of relationship, but because of COVID, he ended up hiring. Yeah. Now we have been together like every day.
What happened?
Actually, it's been really good. And I thought, I have this part of the personal growth. I have this saying that I read downstairs. I read all these signs in my gym, and one of them says, be ready so that you don't have to get ready. And I would read, that's just part of these sayings that I read. And sometimes I read that over and over, and one day it clicked, and I thought, oh, be ready so you don't have to get ready. So be strong mentally, so that when things happen in your life, you're ready for them.
Yes.
Because, and I think about COVID and this whole pandemic, and before it hit, if you weren't strong mentally, it could break you.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have, like, the practices in place, right, to help support you, that's why self-care is so important. And people don't, right, they don't put so much value on self-care. They say, I don't have enough time, or I don't, right, like, they put themselves last, and then something like this happens, and it just, right, can take you way off track of anything. You know, it can really derail you. So
yeah, and I think that things are magnified. People that were struggling, let's say if you had depression before, it's magnified, or problems in the relationship. I mean, right?
Yes, totally.
That's like what you're doing. Groups like you have are awesome.
It's so important because it really teaches women, especially because women a lot of times put themselves last and they just don't, or they have so much guilt that they, I have a family, I can't put myself first, or they become people pleasers and they're just doing all the time. And it's so important to have those foundational practices in place so that when life does ramp up or these unknown things happen, that you can really move through it with more grace, and more just like ease for yourself and more peace in your mind. And just, so it's so interesting. I love that though.
Life is interesting. And it's funny because you said something that triggered something in me because of your whole Melissa's group, Reclaim Your Wild. In the Compassion Project a couple of days ago, I posted that video. I don't know if you saw it, that The Greatest Showman, of that girl with the audition.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I did is I've started doing these yoga classes in my basement, and I'm new to yoga. I usually do spin and different like body pump, but yoga, they did one of these strength ones and the warrior poses, they did it to that song.
Oh, yeah.
So the interesting thing that happened, honestly, Melissa, this is interesting because in the morning, I'd been talking to my husband about something, and I said to him, why is it that I always feel, I work on myself so hard, but why do am I that personality that always is like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'll be quiet, or I'll be the submissive one, or I'll take second to that person, or it's okay. Don't worry, And I finally said to him in the morning, I said, why is it, I can't blame it on the middle child thing. I mean, you can't blame. I was in the middle of 3 daughters. It is what it is, but I need to stand up for myself. It relates to your whole Reclaim Your Wild as a woman, right? Yeah. And I actually said that to him. And then that morning I go down, I do this yoga class. I tried a new one. On comes the warrior poses and that song.
I love it.
I am not joking. The intensity of that moment, and because they get you to like the song, okay, it's from the showman. What is it called? It's being about, this is me.
This is me. Yeah.
And you lean forward, you breathe out as you lean forward, and then you go like this, and it's like this, and then it says, this is me. This is who I am. And tears just started pouring down my face. I couldn't stop them. And it's like being able to show the world who you truly are. I thought, wow, how many women feel like that?
They're scared to show the world who they truly are. And I think that's why there's so many eating disorders and so many, that's the work that I've been doing for so many years, is that women are hiding, and then they turn to food as kind of their source of comfort or release, or like this place that they go where they feel like, I don't have to worry about anything here. But then it just leads to a lot of habits that don't feel good over time, and that's really, for me, that's why I started Reclaim Your Wild, because I'm like, I want women to reclaim their voices and to reclaim who they are. And I've been reading this book. I don't know if you've read it, The Awakened Woman. Oh my God. It's a game changer. Like, it's just so incredible. And
who's the author?
Dr. Tarare Trent. She grew up in Africa, and her story is incredible. And she basically was born into a culture where the girls are married off. And basically she had 4 children by the age of 18. She had her first child at 14 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And then she ended up getting her PhD because she met an American woman who was like, you can be anyone you want to be. And she had never thought about that for herself. And so it's really about women getting back in touch with their sacred dream. She calls it the big hunger, like what we really hunger in life and what's important to us outside of like, it's really about like not our wants, but our needs, like that deeper need that we have, not just like, well, I want to be skinny and I want to lose weight and like all these kind of egoic driven things. It's more about like what's really in your heart and what's your purpose. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think women get lost in that. Okay. In society, okay, get married and have your kids. And then you're so busy with your kids and trying to do the best you can as a mom that you forget and lose your own
totally
true desires. And then as we come into the ages, like in our 40s and 50s, it's like all of a sudden you're like, no, like this is me. That's why that whole like song. And what's funny is now I'm obsessed with ending my workout with that little yoga thing. So my husband will be up here and he'll hear that song blaring from the bass. I'm like, this is me.
I love it. That's so cool.
Anyway, Oh my goodness, you're awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna do another one. I'll shuffle these up again. Okay, our last question. It goes by fast, right?
Yeah. But I love that every question we answer kind of takes a turn into, right, something, it sparks another conversation about something deeper, right? It's really,
I know.
yeah.
And that's her, Dana's whole idea is creating connection, so a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
I know, they're awesome cards. Okay, here we go. What do you miss doing? Well, that's appropriate for this time in our lives.
Yeah.
I really like to think about these. Like, what do I really, really miss doing? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I'll go, I think. I think for me, you know, a lot of it is like the really kind of simple things, you know, especially at this time. But I do miss being able to gather with my friends in homes in like a really comforting, warm environment where we can easily interact. Like now it's just like everything's outside. It's all very distanced. There's not a lot of like connection, and although we are connecting on some level, there's not like that deeper. I'm someone who really values deep, intimate connection with my friends and open conversation and deep conversation. And so I feel like that's gotten lost, and I really, really miss that right now. Like I'm really feeling, you know, like that's a big missing link in my life. And that, you know, as many foundational pieces as I can have in place, that shows me how important people are, right, for us, for our well-being, for our emotional and mental well-being in our lives. And so that's something I really, really miss, you know, being able to have those kind of, I would, you know, always have my girlfriends over and we'd do creativity, and we'd have like, you know, coloring nights, and we'd have like dinners where we just would share and do stuff like the Cool to Connect cards, but with different, you know, different types of cards, and just really share more deeply about what's going on. And I just feel like that's not available right now, you know?
I know, it's strange. And the longer this is going on, it's like you don't want people to create this habit, because we're habit forming creatures. So it's like,
right,
you know, our habit before the pandemic and what we were doing, and it was so crazy the first couple months because we were throwing off our habits. Now I really think people are getting into this habit that's getting more comfortable with our mask and keeping their distance from everyone. And yeah, I think it's weird. It's strange. I don't like it.
It's an it just came to me. I was like, it's an isolation habit, right? Because I find that people also who are more introverted are even going more into isolation, you know, like it's easy. And I tend to be more of an introverted person. Like I value socialness, but I also need a lot of alone time. And so like, I find that without these connections regularly, I can really go into isolation, you know, and that's not good for me, but it feels like a habit. It's almost like, oh, I don't want to be around people. Like there's part of me that habitually, right? Because I'm so used to not being around people now. It's like, well, I'll just do everything myself, you know?
I know. So we have to be careful with that. And like,
I agree.
I had, the other day, you know, because my mom and dad live here, and then my older sister, and we're all a bit more distant because of COVID and being careful, because I have grandchildren. Everyone doesn't want to. But it's interesting because I went to my mom and dad's for the first time in a while for lunch the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure on their rules. And when we got there, they had all masks at the door. My husband and I went.
You're like, okay, there's rule number one.
Which I thought the biggest
thing. Leave your shoes at the door. It's put your mask on now.
The biggest thing is to respect everyone else's choices during this time, and what other people are comfortable with. It might not be what I would do, but if it's what makes them comfortable, because we can't put our values on someone else. And I think that's sort of the hardest part that causes conflict and with relationships, right? But you just have to control it. But anyway, we got there. And my mom and dad said, you know, because I hadn't seen them, I wanted to hug them. And they said, oh, if you put your mask on, then we can hug you. So I was like, no, it's okay. I kind of joked. And then we come in, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to put my mask on. I want to hug. And so we all put our masks on. And I have to say, as long as it's going to make me cry, I don't even know if my mom's going to watch this, but I don't think I've ever had a better hug from my mom than that one.
Oh,
because you know, in the past it's a quick kind of, oh hi dear, you know, and a quick hug. This was like so intimate and long, and that feeling of embracing someone you care about and really holding them. It was probably the best hug I've ever had. And right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So my best friend and my best friend in Santa Barbara, we hike every Friday, and we've been really good about being distanced. And probably about a month ago, I was like, I went to my naturopathic doctor, and we were talking through stuff, and she said, listen, I was like, you know, I feel really alone and isolated, and she's like, well, why are you not like hugging your friends? And she was like, the percentage that you would get COVID is so, it's like 0.04%. And especially because you take such good care of yourself, your friends take such good care of yourselves, you guys are so careful. And she was like, it's actually worse for you to not be hugging your friends. Like, it's more risk to not hug them than to hug them. It's more risk to your mental and emotional well-being, right, than to your physical well-being. And so like, I decided, I'm like, I'm just going to hug my best friend. And after our hike, we hugged and we held each other, and we both started crying. Because it was like, it had been months, and I'm not in a relationship, so I hadn't been touched in months, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we just held each other. We both like pulled away, and we were crying. I was like, oh, I miss hugging you. And so it was really sweet. I so get what you're saying about like valuing that more. Like I think in the past, we probably just like take it for granted. Like, oh yeah, we can hug whatever, you know? Yeah. And now it's like, we can't take that stuff for granted anymore, you know?
I know. Yeah. And it's the whole thing's interesting. So I guess my answer to the question, what do you miss doing? What do you miss doing? Oh, I do miss the hugs like you, or the what was your answer? Not hugs.
The intimate gatherings with people, sharing more, being inside, just being able to like not have so much distance, you know.
Which led to the hugs and all that. Yeah. So we talked a while about it. I'm like, what was your answer? Okay. So mine, I'm gonna say I miss. It says, what do you miss? What do you miss doing? Well, kind of ties in with I miss the freedom to travel, because we never thought about it before. And I have a daughter, my younger daughter lives in Australia.
Oh yeah.
And we can't even see her. We can't go where we wanted to.
Right.
And so what I miss doing is especially with my husband having been in the airline and the freedom to travel, we can't just go get on a plane and feel comfortable and free and go see her. Like, I cannot see her. I can't.
Right.
And she's very busy. She's a speech pathologist. She's amazing. Her name's Jenny.
Oh.
My older daughter is Amber. She lives here, so I get to see her. But Jenny's, in Darwin, Australia.
Right, literally like across the world, right?
Oh, yeah. It would take us 40 hours to get there. But bottom line, I could. Now we can't. So I really miss that freedom to travel, especially when you want to travel to go see family. A lot of people are in the same boat. You can't just go see your family.
Yeah. One of my clients, her son lives in Indonesia, and she's having a really hard time because her son, his wife, her grandchild, like they live in, and she's someone who does mission work. And so she's been all over the world. I mean, she goes to India every year. She goes to Africa so she switches off, and she's just like, I can't go anywhere. And most importantly, like I can't go see my son. And that's been really hard for her, you know?
Yeah. And so we really truly do have to do things like this. Like, that's why I love this game. It's fun. It's connection. But
fun, yeah,
to do these Zooms with your friends, and these cards are good because it really does get good conversation going. But
I know.
And then my thing that gets me through is grateful. So today I wore my everyday grateful sweatshirt.
I love it. So
a girlfriend,
fantastic on you.
A girlfriend sent it to me just out of the blue, and I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I had a bad morning, and then this parcel came in the mail, and I was like, I didn't order anything. Yeah. And I opened it, and I'm all into gratitude, and she knows that. I'm always like, okay, I need to be grateful.
Yes.
Things are falling apart. I'm like, I need to be grateful today. But even with thinking about my daughter far away, if I feel upset, I have to turn to gratitude and just be like, no, I'm super grateful that she's doing good and she's happy and she's got a good life and we can talk. And I think when you do feel the lonely or down, you just have to turn to gratitude of something.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So,
like the things that we do have that are available to us and being grateful for those.
I know, but this, I have to give this company a shout out because it's the best sweatshirt. It's so cozy. Have you heard of that company? It's called Good Human.
Oh, awesome. OHYOU. That's so cool.
It's amazing. It's from the States, and their clothes, they're just amazing. What they've, the gratitude and all, being kind, and yeah, I'll put the link in. People can check it out.
Can you hold that? Was it H?
It's good.
HYOU. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, that's why I wear it today, because I was like, grateful. Anyway, I'm grateful for you, and I will say that because
it's so fun.
I'd love to keep doing more. I would love to keep doing more, but I could go on for a long time. So anyway, thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. And thank you everybody, whoever showed up and watching. And I hope this was fun for everyone here as well.
Yeah, and then I'll put your website in the comments, or the link to your Reclaim Your Wild.
Yeah,
so you can join that.
It's a great group of women. There's so much good stuff happening in there. So if anyone's looking for support around self-care and just really kind of reconnecting to your great hunger, the sacred dream inside, let's get that going.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.